Andrea, who will save your soul? It's a question that's put out there by Jewel. And Jewel is the star of today's mystery.
I'm trying not to laugh so hard. Okay. Thank you.
I'm guessing you're not a big Jewel fan.
I can take her or leave her. I take her or leave her.
All right, well, that's going to be interesting then. This is Eric.
This is Andrea.
This is Hallmark Mysteries and more.
This podcast was created by fans for fans and is not affiliated with or sponsored by Hallmark or the Hallmark channel.
Oh, Eric. Well, do we have any more mysteries coming out that we haven't reported on?
Well, no, they're...
Nellie Knows. We haven't talked about that. We're supposed to get a Nellie Knows mystery.
Yeah, but we don't know if it's coming out in like October or something as production.
Well, no, but that is a nice one to know that, hey, that was announced that we are going to get another Nellie Knows. Basically, they listen to the podcast and are like, anything Andrea hates, we're going to make more of that.
No,
I'm waiting for a Gilded.
Making all the Haunted Harmonies.
I know, that's the only one I got. That wasn't even last year's. All the ones that were like made recently. Nope.
I heard that Gilded is getting a 10-picture deal.
Oh gosh, I was like, don't tease like that. I mean,
again, they're
feel
doing
like
a crossover with
if
the Way Home. No, The Way Home. That's where Alice is going to come out of the pond in season 4 is in the Gilded Age.
Oh gosh. Well, maybe I would take it then. I mean, if we have Alice as the lead, I would maybe take that. Well, should we dive in then? I don't think we have any other news really to update.
No, I'm still just recovering from our 1-star review from last episode. But what we do know is mysteries. That is our jam. We don't come in those half-baked. We come in fully baked for mysteries.
So I've seen them all like a bazillion times.
Yes.
Oh, well, today's is an oldie, but is it a goodie? We'll see. Fixer-upper framed for murder. Shannon Hammer, owner of Hammer Construction Company, is an expert.
No, it's Hughes. Shannon Hughes. Are you on IMDb again?
Just after we say we'd come in fully into our mystery.
Well, see, I'm straightening out. Hughes Construction. Come on.
Hilarious. No, it says Shannon Hammer, owner of Hammer Construction Company.
You're on IMDb, right?
Is an expert in Victorian.
I'm going to get Mary Lou Henner to give you a call and tell you that you are not doing your job if you're looking at IMDb. Replace that now with Shannon Hughes.
Gosh. Through her renovations, she will find clues to uncover a house's secret past and in turn become an unlikely sleuth. So that was the interesting. I am like going to look up right now in my app.
Book, because it is based on a book. I'm wondering
Here's what it says in the app. Here's what it says in the Hallmark app. In the small resort town of Lighthouse Cove, everyone knows that the best man for a job is a woman. And the woman is Shannon Hughes, owner of a construction company and an expert in Victorian home restoration and renovation. So yes, I feel like they kind of chopped up that. Well, this movie originally aired in January 2017. So for myself, again, I've said I've watched this several times. I personally remember loving it. Now, this one starred Jewel, as we have said, and Colin Ferguson. We also have Colin Lawrence, who is one of he's the Chief Jensen, who is also in Virgin River. He is in the New Detective for Holly Robinson Pete's.
Right, Morning Show Mysteries.
Yes, thank you.
You replaced Rick Fox. That's because you are in denial that Rick Fox left.
Well, I love Colin though. Like that's a tough one for me. Like that's actually a fine replacement. I love Colin. So I'm actually okay with that replacement. We also have Marcus Rosner in this one as an ex from her high school. He plays Stephen Davidson. We also have Laura Soltist, and she's a Hallmark actress. You would probably recognize her as she is, spoiler alert, she is actually the killer. But again, when you see her, you're like, oh yeah, I recognize her. So for me,
was she the killer in Color Murder too?
Gosh, I haven't seen that one recently.
I think she was.
That's interesting. This movie is a 3 out of 5. I remember really, really loving Fixer Upper. And I have reasons why I don't really, really love it. I actually watched this probably maybe like 4 months ago, and then watched it again, obviously, to review it. So, for just my few notes, yoga teacher is the proper term for someone, not a yogi, like they say in there. So, that's
Oh,
actually,
really? I had that as my note. Like, oh, I learned something new.
no, that's actually a very distinct title that you are like, you're like given. You don't just say you're a
So you
yogi.
earn, you have to
It's
earn,
kind
it's
of
like
like
a
a
black
guru,
belt
like your
yoga teacher.
guru would tell you this. And so again, to be an actual yogi, I don't know any. Like that's how distinct of a title that is. Um, for myself, at least Jewel sang a song. So they didn't waste her talent. So that was nice. They had a lot of backstory on that necklace of Portugal. So it was too much of monologue happening there. Nobody cares enough about something like that in a mystery movie. We had just a lot of that throughout. Um, Colin sits in his car with his window down while it's raining, and then he falls asleep at a stakeout with the window down.
He's a
And then,
writer. He's
like,
not a,
what? And then he chases them on foot instead of starts his car to chase the car. But at least he remembered the license plate. And then he left the guy for dead in the parking lot, meanwhile, to chase down and get this phone number when obviously sometimes minutes can save lives, seconds can save lives.
ooh, ouch,
So
harsh on Mac.
I know. And then Shannon yells out her door asking what's happening during the arrest, where cops aren't actually going to yell back from the yard telling her, which they do. Like that actually would never happen. And then for me, this was probably my biggest overall hit of this movie. I have not watched the next two, and I remember why I didn't watch the next two when I watched this like 4 months ago. I found the dialogue really basic, some just like really basic writing. And I don't know, again, this could be a Jewel thing where, because I was kind of listening, I'm like, man, this feels just very choppy. It was like one sentence, and then that was all she could handle. And then it was like very short sentences, didn't have a lot of flow to it. You could
Hmm.
tell like when Colin was on, they would have a little bit meatier, like some of these others. Even like Laura, the killer, like she had some good dialogue. We had more than just a quick line here or there, and it felt not maybe not the strongest of acting chops at times. So for me, and again, I didn't notice this the first, when I watched it in 2017. But now having watched so many mysteries, I'm like, we just have better mysteries, honestly, now. So that to me was my biggest thing is the dialogue was really lackluster at times. And I struggled with some of that choppiness of how it kind of flowed together. So I'm sorry. Yeah, it ended up being a 3 because I still really do like the premise of this. I enjoy that. I'm hoping maybe the next two get better. I have not watched that second one just so I could kind of keep this one fresh in my mind. But what about you? What do you think?
Andrea, those are foolish games. Oh boy. Dissing on Jewel.
Sorry.
Not gonna go over well. Not
I'm
gonna go over
sorry.
well. I love me some Jewel. And so I did not have a problem with her acting. I thought personally that her and Colin Ferguson had pretty good chemistry together. I liked them together. They bonded pretty darn quickly. Like, there wasn't that,
Yeah.
now granted, there's no detective, right? So there's no one who is like, stay out of my way or anything like that. So maybe that helps with it. Um, I gave it a 4 out of 5. I liked it, but there's reasons that kept it from the five, and part of it is like what you said, the writing, watching it, and especially after some of the mysteries we've seen later. Like, I won't deny it. Like, for me, the reason I like it so much was I like the chemistry and the energy of the mystery. I like the setting, but if we go back and we look at mistletoe murders and the writing there, so like not even the same planet. The latest, the last couple Aurora Tea Gardens, so good. So we've just been having a lot of really good writings for some of the mysteries that have come down the lane, like Crimes of Fashion, really good writing. Cases of Mystery Lane, really good writing. So I do think like the writing of mysteries. I I didn't look this up. I'm guessing this is about like a 2018-19 type time frame.
Did you not hear me say it like 3 times?
Oh no,
January
Uh,
2017, Eric. January
17. Okay,
2017.
perfect.
So it was written
Well,
in
you're also
2016.
talking about Shannon Mack or something or whatever her construction company
Yeah,
was.
but I said it like 3 times. 2017, Eric.
So,
Yeah, but the garage sale that we just reviewed, that was around this time. And it night
okay.
and day difference. Like I'd give you that
Yes,
over this, you know? But
yes.
again, more strong, I would say stronger acting chops in that series as a whole too.
And but the scenery, which I cannot believe you
Yeah.
didn't bring up, was the little coastal town, super cute, super, and we get more of it in, I'm going off memory because I did not watch the other, I've seen them like 10 times, but um I'm we get more of the town, I think, than we did in this one even. During the daytime too. Though there is definitely nighttime for the one that's coming up, I believe. It's the next one. But all in all, you covered a lot of the things I did, like, Laura Soltis, Marcus Rosner, Colin Lawrence. You're getting all of them in it. Though Colin Lawrence wasn't too likable in this one because he seemed to be kind of the stay out of this. It's a closed case. He just fell and hit his
Which
head
he
and
should, because neither one of them
everything.
are cops. Like, of course,
That's
he's going
true.
to be taking that approach.
Tommy does seem a little incompetent, I have to
Yeah,
say.
he's yelling across the lawn, here's who we're arresting. You're like, what? In a small town, that's going to spread like wildfire, sir.
But yeah, it was fun seeing, Marcus Rosner when he showed up in the kitchen and put his hand over her
Oh my
mouth
gosh,
and
that was so
everything. I'm
scary.
like, trigger alert, people are gonna be having, some issues there.
Well, I was
But
like, are his hands clean? That's what I was thinking. Ew.
and I have to say that I don't know if this should be in the mystery minute or now, but Jewel, I hope, is doing free fixing up on Jesse's house because when they were looking for the necklace, she was just going around tearing. Oh, how about the wainscoting? Tear it off the wall. Oop, no. Oh, how
It was
about right here?
the same thing.
And pounding the
Ah.
holes in the wall with the hammer and leaving a
Oh, I
big
was
old
thinking the
hole,
same
and then
thing.
finally tearing apart the cabinet. So yeah, she just left a wake of destruction uh, around everywhere she went. Also, by the way, I forget what her name was, the princess for the Portugal. I looked it up. There actually isn't a Portuguese princess named that. So
Well, I guess someone was invested into that. They had, I mean, again, they talked
see,
about
I'm
so
doing
much.
more research on this than The Way
Oh
Home, one
no.
star.
Well, that's because they talked about this so much that I'm like, I don't care. This is too much about this dang necklace and all
And it
of
was
his treasure.
ugly.
Well, and all of his treasures. I was like, I don't care. This guy died. I get it, but like, we don't need to know this much about him. So to me, that's always when a mystery is maybe going awry a little bit because it's just got too much of stuff that the audience honestly is not going to care about. So for the mystery minute, how did it actually land? I remembered who did it, as soon as I saw her. I
You
also,
said you saw it 4 months ago?
yeah, I mean, I just
Okay.
watched it, and I was going to watch all three, but then after this one, I was like, not. I'm hoping that the others are better than this one. I just remember it being so good, and I did recall everything, the lighthouse scene as well, because the lighthouse scene is one which I will talk about later, I think, in maybe my trivia or my recommendations as well, because that comes into play a couple other mystery series. And yeah, I mean, overall, I think the mystery was fine. I think, again, they went into too much backstory about the guy's buried treasures, and I didn't care enough about that. So, what about you?
It's probably been a year since I've seen it. So I will be totally honest
You forgot.
that I forgot who it was. And if you haven't seen this one, I will say I think it is a great twist. It
Well, we
is,
just spoiled it. We've told them who the
it
killer
is
is.
really good. Okay. You
We've
did
told them
earlier.
multiple
Yeah.
times.
Well, it's a great twist. I
That you
was
will
like
know.
surprised. But then again, I think there's a picture perfect mystery where like they go on a
I didn't
little
rewatch those. Mm-mm.
where they go on
No.
a little boat and it blows up and it turns out they're faking the murder or faking the death thing. So I was thinking, and I think I confused it with that, thinking, oh, that's the real murder and stuff. Even though it did fake it. Once again, spoiler, left, spoiler right, spoiler everywhere.
I mean, hey, it's from
It's
2017,
kind of
so.
like our spoilers are like time travel in The Way Home. Everyone gets a spoiler, but so I thought it was a really good twist, and I liked it, and I thought it was a fun mystery, but kind of your point that the writing of it and there was some plot holes, too many like plot holes and things that you're like, oh, we just jumped ahead and whatever. That's for me what kept it a 5. It was a 4 because of the chemistry and I liked the characters, but the mystery itself, great twist, but and I guess that's the writing maybe more so than the mystery. And the mysteries are hard to write, right? We've talked to enough writers to know mysteries are hard to write because you do have to keep so many different things in order, and you want to take us one direction and another direction, and so this one, like I said, that was a little weak in the writing.
Well, the romance roundup, we clearly have two different takes on this movie because I wrote down the romance felt brother and sister vibes versus
They
romantic.
just met. What are you wanting them to, like, tongue wrestle in the first meeting? Like,
No, but
you're a
I don't
famous writer. La, 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 la.
know. Just like we had talked about with Curious Caterer, like it's I just get picked more brother sister vibes. Like I don't feel the hot and heavy anything. So yeah, you clearly have different
Well,
take.
like I say, I don't find them romantic at this point, but I found them very, very compatible. I also know where it goes, which I think, I haven't seen. And I did actually binge them when I watched it last time. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be comfortable with where we're heading with the romance roundup. But I have to say, I loved the meet cute when he comes in looking around. She walks up to him. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm looking for Hughes, the contractor for Hughes construction. Do you know where he is?" And seeing her like, him.
I
So
love
a
that.
little, any little feminist one thing like a little singer like that, I'm going to be behind 100%. And then following it up with him on the side of the road with the flat tire, and she comes and changes it for him. He's like, I could do it. I swear I can do it. I'm in my suit though, and I just want to look good. And this, and then she's like, whatever, whatever. She just gets down and does that thing, and she's like, I'm sensitive and I want to stay that way.
I love that they
You're just
went
not getting
this
any of my
route.
little jewel
No,
drops, are you?
I no, I clearly I don't know any. I mean, I think
These are all Jewel songs. I keep weaving in.
I know. I had figured so. Like I didn't. A couple of them I caught, but I don't know enough of her music. But I do like this, and I remember back in 2017 being like, yes, I love that they put a female in this role as the contractor, and especially now having talked with Dylan, how this was probably really big for Bill Abbott to actually do, and to
Yeah.
put someone, a female, in like a stereotypical male role, especially for him in what he liked to put out in the network. So kudos to that. For our character corner, mine was, of course, Chief Jensen. I guess I could have picked Marcus Rosner too. I enjoyed him, but I love Colin. He's
Marcus
well
Rosner looks so young to me.
in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Colin. I like Colin Ferguson as well, but Colin Lawrence, I really enjoyed, and I mean, give me any excuse. I tried to watch My Virgin River again. I'm trying to get through this latest season. I'm just chugging along. And I guess that's my highlight of seeing him. So, and Ben Hollingsworth, his storyline, I do not like in Virgin River right now this season. If anyone else, oof, brutal, brutal.
Yeah, I stopped watching after too.
What about you? Who's your favorite character? This is what happens when we record at night. Everyone, we get way more sidetracked because it's almost my
I'm
bedtime.
focused. I am
I'm almost my
zoomed in.
bedtime.
It
I'm ready for
is
bed.
Aaron Carpluck, who played Jennifer, the niece, the main, the
Oh
one
yeah,
who's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Jewel's friend. Who do you recognize her?
Yes, she was in Tyler Hines'
Yep.
love
She
interest
was
in.
the doppelganger to Topple to Tyler Hines in Three Wiser Men and a Boy. So though for everyone who's paying attention, the one who when Tyler walks in and she's playing the piano and he's like zoomed in. She's sucking on the candy cane and everything. So, and she's like basically the female version of him, but loved her. But I discovered her and I share a birthday.
Well, that's exciting.
Yes.
Oh.
I could have had others, but they're coming up in my trivia. So
I have some trivia too. So here is my list of trivia. The artifacts shown in the movies Maritime Museum were loaned to the production by the actual Maritime Museum of British Columbia. Next one. The opening boat explosion was reshot with the executive producer Alan Lewis playing the captain nearly a month after the principal photography had wrapped after the producers deemed the original opening was too short. Jewel.
Wait, so that the guy who did that was a producer?
Correct. The one in the boat.
Interesting.
And then Jewel, who performs a portion of one of her own songs, The Shape of You, which was on her latest album, picking up the pieces during that memorial scene. So she probably had some sort of like, hey, throw me a bone and let me put this in. And then the opening uses the same background music as Emma Fielding Mysteries, which both premiered in 2017. So lots
saving
of
a couple bucks there.
I'm
sure. We may have to get in and review those.
I know. I'm curious. Originally I liked Fixer Upper better than Emma Fielding. I'm now gonna see if maybe I like Emma Fielding better. I don't know. We'll find out. What about you? What's your trivia?
So we just reviewed the Novel Murders garage sale.
Yes.
Jesse, who was the guy who got killed, was the killer in Terrence, he was the killer in the Novel Murders.
Was he?
Yep. His name is Ken Tremblett.
I was like, he does not. I don't know if I would have connected those dots. He did not look the same in those movies.
And then Gerard Plunkett, who played Charles Potter, who's like one of the buddies of her, I guess her dad. Not Ned, the Marcus Rosner's dad, the other old guy. He was the Professor Miles Fowler, the Shakespeare guy. So we have two of the characters from what we just reviewed. Which
would make total sense.
This one.
Because, again, thinking of the era, like they use a lot of the same.
And what's funny is I also did not recognize, like I recognized the Charles Potter guy, or excuse me, the Gerard Plunkett. I'm like, he looks like, we just saw him and I looked it up and I was like, okay. But the Ken Tremblett guy,
did not look alike.
Only when I went through the cast, I was like, wait, that's the guy from the last move from the Novel Murders, and I was like, wait, who was he in the Novel Murders? Because I didn't remember. I remembered his name. I didn't remember what character it was, and then I saw it was like Terrence. I'm like, no way. So
that's fun.
Yeah, but he actually hasn't been. Why the other guy, the Gerard Plunkett's been in a ton of stuff. The Ken Tremblett guy hasn't been in that many different mysteries.
Well, Hallmark and chill, what we would recommend. So I have a couple Hallmark recommendations. First, so the boat blowing up immediately makes you think of the morning show mystery Countdown to Murder, which we reviewed. So the duck, quack, quack, quack. Remember when they went on the duck? Oh,
that's the one. It wasn't the Picture Perfect. That's the one.
Yep. So that's that one made me think of that. And then obviously Martha Vineyard Mysteries, the Lighthouse, Coastal Feels. It's the same lighthouse. Yep. So all of that is what I would say if you would like that coastal feel. Now, of course, I got to take you to Murder, She Wrote.
Which is also a coastal type.
And there was one, which I already recommended, I think, when we did the morning show mystery, where the news anchor guy goes out in the boat and does his own death out there. So very, very similar concept. But then you could also do, now this one is actually, I'm taking us out of the coastal town and taking us to California, season 6, episode 15. It's called The Fixer Upper. Intrigue abounds in sunny California when Jessica's niece, Victoria, is accused of the murder of a rich movie heiress in Beverly Hills. And so it was kind of about a house that they got murdered over a fixer-upper house. So again, similar, because I figured I could hit up the next two movies. I'm sure I'll find a nice coastal Maine episode to recommend as well. So what do you got?
Well, because I'm only 1 star good, I also had Martha's Vineyard because that's the low-hanging fruit, right? The lighthouse and everything like that. But I also went with Castle because Castle, while very different feel, it is about essentially a mystery writer who gets in and starts solving crimes. Now, granted, he's doing it with the police detective, but you sort of have that little crossover of, oh, I do all my research on mysteries and things like that, so I know how to be a sleuth. So, in that aspect, there, and you haven't dived into Castle yet, right?
I have not, no.
It's good. We did have someone who sent us me some DM saying the last 2 seasons are a little rough, but up until then, brilliant. And I haven't got to the last 2 seasons yet. I'm watching way too many different shows. Wild Cards, Castle. I'm watching some stuff over on BritBox, some hardcore like mystery ones that our friends would not on here maybe like that are in from Denmark stuff. But
well, next week, we are continuing on with Fixer Upper. So we're going to do Concrete Evidence. So that's movie 2 in the series. And so maybe if you were like me, you're like, ooh, I don't know. We'll see, because I do remember really enjoying them. This is one of my top mysteries. I think when I did a ranking back when I started my Instagram, maybe in 2020. This one was pretty high up there. But again, if I did a new one, I feel like this might fall based on just the better mysteries that we've had the last few years. So we'll find out. And then, of course, we'll have The Way Home, episode 10, and Spencer Sisters, episode 10. So
you forgot one other thing.
What?
John Christian Plummer.
Yes. And then you have an interview with him coming up this Friday.
Right.
So, yeah.
Where he drops maybe some very interesting Mystery 101 news.
Wait, for real? I didn't know if you were just teasing that.
You'll have to listen and find out.
Oh, you're right. Interesting. Well, I'm now intrigued. Maybe I'll listen this week. Just kidding. I always listen.
Okay. Well, on that note, you go to bed.
I will.
I'm going to about bedtime for me too, but I've got to edit and get stuff out. So until next week.
Sounds good. Bye.